Dear students, we're going to just start in a minute or so. Hope we are audible. If not, kind of let us know. So the duration, I think it won't be a long session. Just a very quick session to clarify on certain, concepts and rumors. It will be a very quick session. So I'm just waiting for a couple of things to be ready. You can see. Yeah. All right. Welcome all. Welcome all the students in Marrow. Thanks for taking your time to be here. I am just will introduce ourselves. I am Deepu Sepin. I did my MBBS from Government Medical College, Kottayam. Then I did my PG in medicine. That's from Government Stanley College, Chennai. So post that, I've been building. Me and my team was building daily rounds. I hope most of you know daily rounds. And this year we have launched Marrow primarily for students like you. And the key reason for us to launch Marrow was actually to build a very online accessibility platform for a lot of students who cannot attend the coaching or who are not getting benefit from the coaching, and build and help them out. I have with me Dr. Suganya, and she will introduce us.
Hi guys. So you would have seen me in the Marrow app. So I finished my MD part from CMC Vellore, and I started working here in daily rounds and into Marrow. So in addition to the teaching, I also help in the content and what goes in Marrow. So hopefully you guys are liking what we're doing. So we are here to address some key issues that must be running in your mind regarding the exam, or when the exam dates are, or what is the pattern of the exam. These usual doubts that seem to just crop up just before the exam. So hopefully we would be able to address those issues. You already have sent a lot of questions, so we'll see them as well.
All right. So first thing, if the sound is not clear, just comment it. We will sort of record it and keep it for a day so that don't worry about if you are not able to see it. Now here's the thing, right? So this session is to remove your confusion, relieve any kind of anxiety you have, and kind of clear your doubts. Okay. So to remove any confusion, relieve any kind of anxiety, and clear your doubts, because none of these three things are gonna give you a good rank, right? And you basically have to put all this ahead, including this strategy session, and go back to your studies, right? So what has happened because of the pattern change and the exam change is that there is a lot of confusion, a lot of rumors, a lot of things to study, a lot of people making noise all around, which is actually counterproductive, right? I have emailed you quite a while, at least a couple of times. It doesn't matter, right? So what you need to do is actually utilize your next 2 months, which we will explain how to do it, and just few things you need to know about negative marking and things like that. That's it, and you have to go back to what matters, which is actually your revision. Nothing else matters, right? None of the rumors matters. None of the things which people kind of say, talk, forward, write in their Facebook matters, right? So we want you to do that. So that's it. Now we will have a very specific, clear agenda for this. So we will go through three things first. The first would be negative marking. The second would be, I think audio would be clear. The first would be negative marking. The second would be revision, how to do it. The third would be an overall plan, and basically how to stay motivated for the 2 months. Maybe most of people might be, at least some of you might be feeling a bit hopeless, how to tackle that. These three key things we will talk about. Now, then we have collated few of your questions. We'll go through that and we'll answer any of your questions. Right. Now, I think Rasuvinia will start with how to go about negative marking.
Yeah, so the burning question this time is about negative marking. Actually, it's not new to the NBE. A while ago, before the prometric system came into place, we did have negative marking, and they have reintroduced it again this year, right? So there's nothing new about it, and this shouldn't deter your preparation in any way, right? Before understanding, so there were a lot of questions on how to approach, what is the strategy for negative marking, how many questions to attend, how many questions to leave out, and what would be the appropriate number and all that. See, basically, you need not worry about all these questions around negative marking. It just complicates the whole thing, right? There is one simple thing, there is a simple logic behind this negative marking, right? Let me explain this like in a math formula form for you. So let's say you have five options, right? You have five options for a question. uh, let's say there are five options, okay? So if you get the right option, you get 5 marks, and if you get a wrong option, you get what is it, you it should not be -1, okay? So in an ideal world where the test is completely randomized, okay, where the test is completely randomized, a person, if he or she randomly takes the test, he will get 0, okay, because he should not take a test randomly. That's the whole point, right? So what they do is they minus 1.25, right? So this is what has to be done for a perfectly done test, right? But then when you give a -1, automatically you skew the test in a positive favor, and that too it is positive for you, right? So the same thing applies to this as well. See, if you have four options, if you get a right one, you get +4, and if you get a wrong one, you get a -1, right? So in an ideal world, it should have been -1.33, but here it is -1, right? So obviously, the so this test is positive in your favor, right? Like they always say, right? The odds are in your favor, like that. So this test is structured in such a way that you will get a positive response even if you click more number of questions, okay? So the idea behind explaining this logic is that it's very simple, just to drive home the point that attend maximum number of questions, it will not affect you adversely, okay? Having said that, so there are like, let's see how to attend these questions, right? How to attend your question paper, or the 300 questions on that B day, right? So the first, the commonly proposed strategy is that you first do one round, like you do one round of all the 300 questions, and do all the easy questions, or the straightforward questions, or the questions that you know the answer to, right? So just finish it in the first round. But here again, see, since you decided to do two rounds, you should make sure that your first round, which will take the maximum time, uh, so you have to also attend the maximum number of questions, okay? So what is that maximum number of questions? Remember, you have to do at least around 160 to 180 questions in the first round, like in 300 you have to do at least 160 to 180 questions, right? So after that, when you come to the second round, then here comes all the confusion, right? So it's like, should we guess, should we not guess, should we attempt, should we not attempt? So the basic strategy behind introducing negative marking is this, to this infuse this confusion in the student's mind, right? So in this case, so just leave out all those feelings from your head and just approach it logically. What I would suggest is, if you are able to rule out two options, go for that question. If you're able to rule out even one option, just go for that. Just go for that question. Only and only if you haven't heard about that question at all, or you're not able to rule out all four options, just don't attempt it. And even this, like, we can't say exactly how many questions will be there like that, in each exam. So it varies from exam to exam. But having said that, I think this is a logic, the basic fundamental logic behind negative marking. And the outcome of this problem is that you should attempt maximum number of questions as possible, because you have prepared for 6 to 8 months, and you have the capacity to answer that question. So I think you should just go ahead and answer as many questions as possible.
Right. I think I completely agree to that. So one easy approach to this, right? Now, Sugini has completely, scientifically mentioned how you should do this because you would clearly understand. Now, exam is a very different game, right? You are not gonna look at and calculate every question, right? I mean, you have to answer naturally, just the way you have been answering so far, right? That's it. And but the key point is here, you should answer maximum. I would say, I would say 260 plus 270 you should touch. Now, depends, right? If the exam is very easy, you can go to 280, right? And if exam is tough, you might end it. But the game is like that. So this is the real thing, right? So you are in, say, I think exams will be in Jan. Don't worry about the exam data. Someone has asked. That's not none of our concern. Let them conduct the exam. Now, exam is in Jan. You are sitting in the exam hall. You are clicking and answering. You have a first round, right? Most people will have first round, right? You try to answer maximum in that round and mark the things which you have doubt or which you don't know anything. When you go to your second round, you are actually going to extract the maximum and answer the maximum possible, but just stop before answering and taking a completely unknown guess. So instead of worrying what to answer, just to keep this in mind, you have no idea what it is. Like it's a number 1, 2, 3, or 4, and you have no reason to pick 1, 2, or 3, or 4. Maybe you can skip it. But any other kind of question, like say, true or false, not, except, you can think about it, and kind of come to it. So I would kind of say this point here. I would kind of give this point here. How do I change this? Yeah, I would kind of kind of say this point, right? So you might think, right, this is the logic, right? You're taking a risk, right? It's a bit of a risky game, right? It's not an equidistant game, right? So let's say these are the kind of people who will get a good rank, and these are the people who will not get a good rank, right? No rank, right? Rank, right? It's very skewed, right? The people who get a rank are less, right? So even if you are a very conservative person who plays by the rules, you could end up here. Doesn't make sense, right? So you have to take a chance. Now it's a risky chance. So not taking chance is not an option. It doesn't have to have any valid outcome. So you would rather take a chance here, write something around 250, 270. I don't know. I want to call 270 as the golden number. It's actually really tough to do 270. So try for maximum. The absolutes you can't answer, this insane, that probably leave it. Now, easy to talk about it. The only solution is actually take mock test, right? Take mock test, take grant test. You can take any grant test, Marrow, non-Marrow. Just avoid the, you can take the dams one, the Bhatia one. Just don't take the, generic ones like the ladders and the junction kind of things, which we don't know who is actually setting these questions. Like they would just collect some questions and put it. So just don't take the random ones. Any trusted ones where the teachers. Take the grant test. Marrow itself will have grant test. We will have free test. You can take our whole test as well. See how your game is playing out. Right? Are you able to do it? Are you able to push it? Are you able to get correct answers? Even one more suggestion I have is that this is where the book becomes a problem. Right? If you are reading only book, you cannot assess this. Right? So our Q bank or any other Q bank, which is trustable, has this option. Right? You can answer immediately and get to know your answer is wrong or right, and your guess is wrong or right, and you get to know how others are doing it, right? So it's basically practice some Q-bank questions, take mock test, right? Now, I'm going to conclude this negative thing, and this is the only thing you need to remember, and you should completely forget about the negative ranking situation solution, and let your other friends worry about it. You should just forget it. Your thing is that try maximum. So when I wrote entrance, it was like the same thing. It's nothing new. So it's like everyone knew you have to answer 270. Just because you are actually doing it the first time, this confusion will come. So don't worry about it. You try to answer 270, push it to the extreme. Now, easier said, but when you do, you have to take mock test and do it. Second point. Anything to add? Right. Revision. We'll get to the revision. How do you do revision? How to do revision?
So again, a more logical approach is what works in life. when you attach feelings to things, it doesn't get done. So a logical approach works most of the time. So I would say, if you have, see, there are some people who have asked, which subject can I leave and which subject should I focus on. Please remember that this need, okay, not aims, but need is, one of those equally distributed exams. So you get that proportion of questions from all 19 subjects. It might vary slightly, but you have to expect questions from all 19 subjects, and there is no single subject that you can eliminate or leave out, right? Having said that, so each one of you has prepared each subject with a different attitude or approach, right? So if I say, hey, you allocate 4 days for medicine, and you allocate, no, if I say you allocate 3 days for medicine, it might not apply to you all. Like one person might need 4 days, and one person might just need 2 days, right? So it is completely up to you. So whatever it is, you need to know how many days you will need per subject, right? So that is hard and fast. Like you have 60 days, you need to know how many days you need per subject, right? Because you've prepared for these 6 to 8 months, it is crucial that you revise these subjects once again. So coming back to the question, how to revise, right? So one good strategy, see, each one has their own, but we are here just to guide you, right? So one good thing you can do is plan one round of revision, right? The first round of revision will take a little more time than the second round of revision, right? So the 60 days can be divided into or 65 days, since the NEET exam seems to be postponed a little bit. So the 60 days, how I would suggest is divide it into 45, 15, and then another 5 days, right? So the 45 days, I would say, you pick out, like take the 19 subjects, you decide which is important, which needs more time, all that. Whatever it is, spend some time, like an hour or so, make your plan. So divide it and make sure that you complete all the 19 subjects within these 45 days, right? Right. So again, like this leads me to another thing. From where do I revise, right? So should I do guidebooks or MCQs or what? See, that's again up to you. But textbooks, you can refrain from them for now. I would suggest, see, you have made notes, right? For 6 to 8 months, you have spent time making notes, class notes, and guidebook notes and everything. So you revise them, figure out a strategy to revise those notes thoroughly, finish the subject within the allotted time, finish the 20 subjects within the allotted 45 days, then you move on toward the second round of revision, right? So once you have revised, see, you took 6 to 8 months to study once, okay, then 45 days to revise once. So 15 days for the second revision, right? So you finish that revision again. Once again, the same strategy applies to this as well. So do that, and then the last 5 days, let's see, like we can keep that as a cushion period and decide what to do in the last 5 days. Probably me and Deepu will come once again to guide you on those last 5 days. Yeah, so this strategy is up to you, but planning is crucial. Planning is crucial. You can't just be very random about revision. Like you need to plan and you need to finish the allotted subjects within the allotted time. This is fail proof. Like anything else, you can say it might work, might not work, but planning and following, sticking to the plan, avoiding negative thoughts works all the time.
Cool. I think that completely covers it. I will just kind of put just to summarize it. This would be like first is that. Just give me a minute. So I see your questions. I'll answer those regarding negative mark. Right. I've seen a question that how much should I score for 3000 rank? Nobody knows. Right. That's an honest answer. No one knows. No one can say. It's a new exam. If someone is saying that this is going to come, that is going to come, I think you should not listen to them because it's a new exam, right? I mean, you can't be sure about what. So one thing we all are sure because we all have written negative mark in exams. I mean, that was our standard. Our seniors have written is that you attempt maximum. It's tough to do 300, but attempt maximum. That's your only strategy about negative. There is no other strategy, and you leave the ones which are absolutely false. So there is nothing to that. Really tough to say what it is. Now coming and finally this one quickly. One, no textbooks. Get rid of them, right? No textbooks, right? Notes. If you had made notes, that is for the revision. Okay, so this is the time to read the notes. Third, solve MCQs, right? Solving MCQs is very different from studying MCQs from a book. So use something to solve MCQs. So this actually has to have a time split, that is up to you, but not textbooks, this thing. And all these are time dependent. Okay. What is defining here? Not your subject. Not finishing medicine. No, nobody cares if you finish medicine. There is no checkbox which you ask in an exam, right? How you finish medicine? No, medicine. But 4 days? Like no, that's it. 4 day close. You are in the midst of line. You haven't completed that particular word. Don't care. Just close it. Take another subject, right? So this is a time-defined process. Do not ever be tempted to extend anything. Rapid fire, fast. Okay. Cool. Now, I'll one final thing. I mean, before I go to any specific questions, would be, uh, this is a bit. I don't know who all are facing it. You might be a bit demotivated now. A lot of you are. I've seen the questions are anxiety, all the problems. Right? I will address this very clearly, and I have 3 points to make. Right? And this has tremendously helped me as well when I was writing the exam. The first thing is that the easiest thing is losing hope, right? Or like, now the losing hope manifests not as depression or thing. It usually manifests as this exam is done, let me prepare for the next games. I did the same thing. I was like, let me prepare for the next NIMHANS. I bought the NIMHANS books. I want to in an institute. I'm not going to worry about this exam. Let me worry about the next exam after that because, so this is wishful thinking. This is wrong. I'll tell you why. First, you have a good 2 months to prepare. This is actually a very significant amount of time. And you know that, right? Anything you studied 4 months back, you don't remember anything, right? So, see, what you spent 2 months, few months back is practically few days. It's just what few days. So these 2 months are something which you can study, which you remember. And I would say you have just enough time, so much in the verge. I mean, you can just barely manage now if you utilize. I mean, I would say you have just enough time. You should not even wait for us to say thank you and goodbye. You should just switch off the stream and go and start studying, right? And I'm not joking, right? I went to do the same thing. So I was actually doing some rural service and I came back, I was a bit late. And I had this thing and I just thought, okay, fine. I have two options, right? I can worry about it or, I can plan for the next year. I started planning and realized, hey, the other option is that I put a maximum effort and get something out of it. And the opposite of it is basically nothing. So it doesn't make to choose the first option. I went with that. So you have just enough time, provided you can actually push to your extreme for the next 2 months. Right? Listen. Second, your strategy. Now, strategy is basically, see, not worrying about negative marking is the strategy. Negative marking is not the strategy. Not worrying about it is the strategy. How you approach your exam day is a strategy, which we will have another session, right? How to go for that, right? And how you revise is a strategy, right? Srini has clearly mentioned. This strategy itself, if you execute for 2 months, you will have an unfair advantage. Okay, and I am being very clear. 2 months is what we need if you have a fair base, right? Now, if you haven't studied anything, if you're doing internship, just go back to the first question asked. Your one option is not to do it and worry about it and think about it. Other option is put your best effort and take that chance you might get a rank. So the first option doesn't make any logical sense. Go for the second option, right? Now the third thing is that the anxiety, right? The anxiety part. Now anxiety, confusion. See, anxiety is normal. Like I get anxious even now if I have an important meeting. So I had anxiety. I think everyone has anxiety. I don't think that's a negative thing. It is basically your body prepping up you for your exam or this big game. But so when I mentioned D-Day, so if someone know what D-Day means, drop the comments. I don't know, maybe I'll give you a gift or something. Okay, so it's a D-Day thing, right? It's your body prepping. Do not Google. It's your body preparing you for the D-Day. Right, the body preparing you for the D-Day. So anxiety, I don't think, unless it's incapacitating, you need to worry about it. Just embrace it and utilize it as your body thing. Because if not for anxiety, I'm sure I might not have done a lot of things. Right, it's basically the anxiety which is hitting me. Second is a forgetful, and the final one more added is forgetfulness. So I remember there was this question on cavernous sinus, and for some reason I not relevant now. The old pattern is important, and I thorough drainage of cavernous sinus thoroughly. And there is a question in the final mock test I took, and I couldn't answer it. I was like, really sad and like frustrated. Then I realized a lot of people, this happens, right? I mean, this happens. So I'm very honest there. It doesn't happen for some very 1% of users who have this photographic memory. Rest of us, including me, and I don't know about you, but it happens, right? So that's fine. So some things we'll forget. I mean, if not, we'll all get first rank. Right? That's fine. Forgetting is not a problem, but you just need to, keep your brain running. So I think we covered the 3 points. Negative marking, revision very important, and third is basically what do you do, how do you stay motivated, and if you feel sort of hopeless, this is it. Now, did they dare against unknown? I don't think so. I am asking the scientific. I think I should not distract you, but I am asking the historic reason for D-Day. Anyway, now we'll take few questions which we asked. Um,
Yeah, before that, there's one question on what kind of questions to expect in this NEET.
right.
So again, right, like there was this distraction in between the last 3 years. There were too many questions, and so there was this logic that the quality of questions were kind of compromised because they had to accommodate so many sessions in so many days, right? So this year, hopefully, the 300 questions, right? It's only a single day, single session exam with 300 questions, and it will be uniform for everyone, right? So we can expect, like, we can only expect that they will be of good quality, meaning they will be concept based most of the time, right? They will be concept based. Of course, your one liners and direct questions will be there, yes, but please expect more concept based questions. Keep this, why am I saying this? Keep this in mind, while you're revising. So when you're revising a topic, right, just don't skim through it, try to analyze the concept behind it, right? So I'm not saying spend extra time, I'm just saying just train your mind to think conceptually rather than memorizing at this point in time. This concept will definitely help you answer questions, if not the same questions, at least derivatives of the questions in your exam. Right? So that is one question that was asked by a student. Right.
So another one was, can I skip a subject during revision? I think you cannot because it is too much of a chance to take. I mean, definitely the question single exam, the distribution is going to be unique. So don't worry, right? As I said, it's defined by time. So give 2 days for anesthesia, study whatever you can, or revise whatever you can. So do not skip subject. It definitely doesn't make sense. I think topics maybe you can skip. Like I would do that again. Depends on it. Certain topics is really hard to understand and it's not that high. I might skip. So subject you cannot skip. I'll take one more question, right? During the exam. So during the exam is a different thing. Now this is where you should be really preparing. So like it is actually nothing to do with your preparation, like getting your admit card to finding the place to go, and even where to keep your mobile phone. Take so many things are there, right? So we'll be working, and I think a lot of students are working with us as well. So that will come back later, right? So first thing before right now we need to worry is that it is really hard to sit steady for 3 hours, right? So if you haven't taken mock exams, please do, right? And as I mentioned, you can go for any trusted source, and obviously we trust Marrow for the same reason. We have put a lot of effort into kind of crafting those questions out. So I will try to, and we will try to make more tests free that everyone can take it. There is already a free test available. You can do it before the exam. We will have a very important national mock test, which is like the absolute epitome of test. We'll have that. That will be free, and we'll try to have video discussions on that. That will be free. So I think we'll try to make more grand tests free, but we're just limited by time. You can take it or any other sources if you are subscribed to. As I said, right, just go for the ones which the teachers are setting the question, right? So then do that. So give me another question.
So there is this, again, we covered this important subjects, how many questions to attempt, all this we've attempted, I mean, we've seen. There is one more question, how many questions to qualify? That's pretty straightforward. If you didn't know, 50% for the general category and 40% for the SEST category.
As a qualification.
Yeah, as a qualification for NEET. Like
right.
There was one person who had asked how much to just qualify for the NEET, right? And then image-based questions, right? So that is another interesting thing that has changed. Right? Obviously, it was there in once the computer-based exam started, we started getting image-based questions. So you will, it's great. I mean, it only makes sense to expect more numbers this year. AIMS had a good proportion of image-based questions. Like in the like it had a good like 60 questions were image-based. So I think it's okay to expect that many or more in your NEET as well. Yeah, coming to that, I would like to say that please go through the images in your standard books. Robbins, for example, just skim through the images in your Robbins, and I'm sure you will get questions from there directly. Yeah, so that can be one approach to tackle your image-based questions. Right.
Right. So I'll read through a few questions. Will the importance of topics be same? Most likely, because you know that, right? The people who are setting the exams are the same. Just the conducting agency is different. So that's going to be same. Uh, should I go for subject-wise questions or take grant test? Take grant test. Subject-wise test. No, I mean I would not say taking a subject-wise test is wrong, because you're studying that subject, right? So I am very pro on taking MCQs. So it depends on individual capacity. If you ask me, I would just study MCQs for the next 2 months. But if you made not, it makes sense. So you should do the notes, right? So individual variability is okay. Notes and MCQs, nothing new, no textbooks, as I said. Taking subject test, why not? But always, if you have a choice, if you have to choose between subject and grant full 3 hour is the important thing. Full 3 hour test, then going back is the best thing. Sugani ma'am has a fan of lectures, but I think we all know that.
Thank you.
How many questions should be correct? As I said, 270 is my number, like you can actually go. How important is statistics? It's important, unfortunately. So if you can manage to, get some concepts, we have some free stats videos, you can see that. So, you can get it. How to integrate one and another subject at related topics, Kiran has asked. So this is very important. So unfortunately, this is not the time to integrate, right? Like integration is like you're studying, say, a thyroid. You can study thyroid in physiology, concept and all. I think now it takes so much of time to go for that. This is a time divided quick rapid fire rounds. How to improve my memory? You cannot improve your memory now, but you can do more revisions. So it's like there are two variables. I usually say your risk for heart disease, right? There is a modifiable criteria, non-modifiable criteria. How much you study for your undergraduate? How much gifted are you with your memory? Those are non-modifiable. But it doesn't matter, because we have two modifiable factors. One is revision. Okay, one is revision. Second is a strategy. How to make good use of Marrow pelts? See, Marrow pelts, it's for a quick revision, right? Quickly revise, right? Ask many number of times. So I will not be ashamed to say that I have revised certain things 100 times, like more than 100 times. So I also think that I had a really bad memory. Then I had this like really smart student, like he would put all the grant tests. He said, I revised 100, 200. So then I realized, oh man, like it's okay, right? So if it's like this really tough one box which always asks you, see, one revision is like 1 minute, right? So revisions are fine. Pearls, thank you. There's nothing Marrow specific. Our questions are previously. Oh, how were the questions in AAPG when there was negative marking and when there was lengthy and conceptual, right? Now, it doesn't matter. So the questions were very different. It were lengthy, less conceptual. Even though if you notice our questions are small, it's actually more conceptual. So when there was two books still there, Ashish Gupta, and I studied that thoroughly, and do revision, you would get through. But I don't think that's going to come back. So what you're going to get is basically very good questions, focusing on the core areas, and once you answer maximum number of questions, you stand a fair chance. Okay, so can you want to address few? Any questions left, guys? I think we are sort of gonna wind down. Anything you can. My lectures, right? I focus on the Q bank. So I'm basically not getting time, but I will definitely take 1 or 2 sessions in medicine. But I believe Q bank is actually equally or more important. So a lot of my focus goes on setting the Q bank and things up. But yeah, soon we will.
Oh, this Dr. Kiran, I saw your response which you wanted to ask. You had said, I've already revised 2 times, but I'm still not confident enough. But that's a feeling every topper goes through. So, just pull through and give your exam, I think you should do just fine.
Someone asked anatomy. So anatomy, I think, is a problem subject. I also realized while preparing the QPAM, right? So no pattern, lot of listening questions. So anatomy, I would say, how many days you're giving for anatomy revision? 2 day or 3 day, right? Whatever you can study that thoroughly. That's it, right? What else can you do? So don't worry about what you can't do. Worry about things you can do, right? So anatomy the same thing. So medicine definitely tough to cover all of this. So if there are certain topics which you feel like really hard, just focus on giving the day and moving on. Finally, all the modules of Marrow be done, right? Now, see, we are not going to hurry it, right? So we have a very specific process to prepare these questions. I'm sure you are realize that, right? So under no circumstances, we'll finish it by, I think, November first week. But we take a lot of pain in collecting these questions from the last year toppers, then running 2 rounds of peer review. So if we hurry it, it doesn't do justice to what we promise. And you have no dearth of MCQs, right? You have hundreds and thousands of MCQs and junk MCQ books all around. I'm pretty sure you're forced to read all this, right? I am sure you don't want another set of random MCQs. So we will not hurry for the reason, but I think since the exam is mostly in Jan, we'll be in time. We'll have enough time to review, and don't you will have enough free MCQs to review. That's good enough. Yeah. How about preparing for surgery?
I would say the bigger subjects depends on how your level of preparation is. Like, I feel like I was quite strong in surgery during my UG days, and it didn't require much revision. So it's individual, an approach. So some people they say that the bigger subjects like medicine and surgery, they don't spend much time because they learn a bit of it in all the other subjects as well. So I mean, there is no specific strategy for one person.
Right. I think we are good. So as I said, right, I want to see you all closing this and running off because you have just enough 2 months, which is as good as 4 months in your time, right? So you can make sure this 2 month is 2 month or 3 month or 4 month or 5 month or 6 month. So extract the maximum. Positivity only helps. Negative feelings and like applying for anything and no outcome. And you just don't worry about anything else. Let the others worry about it. It's an unfair advantage to you.
There is one specific question, ma'am. Will basics carry more weightage? So in the past, it has been that way. I don't know if you mean patho basics or just general basics.
Yeah.
Can you?
But
please? Okay. So with regards to patho, it has been basic patho before, but now since this image-based thing has come up, they are taking more questions from the systemic side as well. Why? Because there is correlation possible with your clinical subjects. For example, rabies, negri bodies, and all your patho, different bodies and all, they're just giving the images rather than asking direct questions, right? It makes more sense to have an image and a concept behind it rather than just a one-liner which you by heart. Right? So, first and second year subjects, of course they form the basis for any clinical medicine subjects, and they are the scoring subjects or the volatile subjects, I would say. They are important. Like, I can't say they are not important. Right. There was
right. I think we covered most of it. So probably I think this is a closed group, and we only selected a few. I mean, randomly selected, so that we have a very we get to answer a lot of questions, right? Otherwise, we would just talk about it. So I think probably we'll have a repeated session. So if your friends are missed, they can join. But I think that's it from Marrow headquarters.
Right.
All right, guys, study well. Go run, take your book, study. All right, thank you.
Strategize and then study.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.